Welcome, everyone, to Fantasy Six Packs, 2 off the tee. I am your host, Keith Flemming. This week, we will be talking Scottie Scheffler's big major win at Quail Hollow for the PGA Championship, Rory's driver issues, and then previewing the Charles Schwab Challenge. There's a name full, but as always, I am joined by my good friend, the host of ESPN Northwest Florida's Inside Drive, Ryan Mulvey. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. I was trying to will FSU into making it to the championship match, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Amy Bond's a good friend of the show. She comes on all the time with us, and this has just been a special year for them, and it's just so hard, such a grind to make it all the way to that championship match. But
Unless you got Patrick Reed.
That's true. Unless I think this is their 9th straight national championship appearance, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like they haven't had a good run, but yeah, they were just officially eliminated.
I know you can't root things into existence, or the 49ers would have won a Super Bowl the last couple of years.
True story. True story.
And that's not even a shot. I just mean that I know for a fact that if you could have that kind of power, because they could have easily won either one of those games. But we're not here to talk that. We're here to discuss. Yeah, right. We're here to discuss, man, is the PGA Tour ever on fire? And so is Scottie Scheffler. We went into, what was it, 3 weeks ago in Texas.
Talking about how
you put a spark. Yeah. And Scheffler, it's just amazing. Again, I talked about this last year with Xander, winning 2 majors over a short period. And I just keep being reminded this, right? Like, Rory had an unbelievable start to the season, and you can't take that away from him. 3 wins, the Masters, completed the career Grand Slam. But Scheffler had that injury, had the hand surgery, and got off to a little bit of a slow start for Scottie Scheffler.
I'd like to
add, not for anybody else. And, all of a sudden he had 3 less wins than Rory this year. He hadn't won a major. Rory had. You flash forward 3 weeks, he set a PGA scoring record, and just demolishing the field. And then, to me, even more impressive, he demolished the field again. And I don't feel like that was his A game. Do you think it was?
No, I feel like you've said that multiple times when Scottie Scheffler's won. I mean, if it was an A game, he would have won that thing by more than the 5 strokes he ended up winning it by. I think he would have got probably to 15, 16 under par, but I guess it doesn't matter. When you're Scottie Scheffler, you don't have to have your A game to win some of the most difficult golf tournaments in the world. So
he is now just the 3rd player in the history of the game. Pretty elite This is who am I saying? Pretty elite. It's
the Mount Rushmore of golf.
This is it. And it's why I think this guy is special. We'll talk about in a few minutes why he's making me break all my rules on gambling on golf. Seriously. I mean, just flat out, it's got to be, similar to the Tiger days, but Jack, Tiger, Scottie, the only 3 players in the history of the game with 15 wins and 3 majors before they turned 29 years of age. I was telling you, this is only his 5th full year of playing in major championships. He's had the last 4 years where he played in all 4 majors. Obviously, he'll play in all 4 majors this year. He's basically won 3 of the last 18. That's a really high percentage. But it's the top 10s and top 5s. I looked it up again. It's in my article this week. 11 top 10s, 7 top 5s in the last 18 majors. And I think that these are going to come in bunches. And he has, he earned the right of being the number 1 golfer in the world, even with the run Rory had. Some people were questioning, well, how come Rory with 3 wins in a major is not past Scottie? It's because, well, for starters, he won 10 times last year. And he had won a major 2 of the last 3 years, and he plays well in every major. But he is now, again, firmly got the grasp on the best player in the game. And what is so exciting about this is it does not remind me of the Tiger Woods era. Because unlike Tiger's era, where, yes, you had Phil and Ernie and VJ, and there was other guys that would pop up here and there, it really feels like Scheffler is entering, as I wrote my article, we're in the Scottie Scheffler. We're officially in it right now. But John Rahm is playing very well, young golfer. Bryson DeChambeau seems to have finally figured out how to play in the biggest events, even, playing on the Live Tour, which is even more impressive with the way these other guys are, finishing. You've got Ludwig Oberg coming up. Justin Thomas is coming back. There's all these really good golfers, Rory McIlroy, that are going to challenge him, and I can't wait to see the heights that he gets to.
Yeah, I mean, and that we talked about this off the show too. Like, he'll falter, but then he'll bounce right back. And when guys seem to get close to him and put a little pressure, he just seems to rise to the occasion and stretch out that lead or whatever he's in, hit some ridiculous shot. Like that one, was it on Saturday when he hit it to like a foot or so on
the par 4?
3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you talking about the par 4? Yeah. It was an eagle.
Yep.
That's what really got his run going. He eagled 14 and ended up birdieing 3 of the last 4. And literally he was down 1 going into 14. And by the time the round had finished, the lead was, I believe, 2, but over most of the field, 5. And it was like, okay, this thing's over.
Yeah, you knew Noren wasn't going to hang in there. He just hasn't played enough golf.
And I mean, the other thing about Scheffler is just, I know it can seem boring at times. It really can. But he's just so consistent. And that is why, even more so than Tiger, I think, from what my dad has told me about Jack Nicklaus, that is what separated Jack.
Yeah.
Was that he just very rarely hit bad golf shots, ever. And that's kind of the way Scheffler was. And that's, to me, in some ways, what's so impressive about this win by 5 shots is that front 9, if you watched it, that was the worst ball striking I've seen from him. And I couldn't tell you how long. He was missing, drives left. He was missing wedges left. And then almost the same that he did Friday when he really struggled on the front and got it going on the back. And then the same thing Saturday where he just he was hitting it much better, but couldn't get the round going into those last 5 holes. Yeah. He just seems to always find it. And I think that it has so much to do with that unique swing. He owns it. He understands it, right? His footwork and stuff is very unusual, but it works.
Well, and nobody says you have to swing the golf club a certain way. It's all about getting back to the impact position. And as long as you're getting back to the impact position and you know what that club face is doing, you could play as good a golf as anybody in the world, because that's what it's all about, is controlling your club face. And I think that's what brought out the frustration from him after that first round, when he was talking about the mud balls and how he's worked his whole life trying to learn how to control the golf ball. And then, and I don't blame the PGA for not doing lift, clean, and place in your own fairway, because in major championships, they will do everything they can to not put the ball in someone's hand. Because
I get that, but don't you think if you know there's going to be mud on the ball, which every player there said they were aware of it going out, why are you then taking away the importance of hitting fairways, which should always, well, at least everywhere but Augusta, and depending on what Open Championship, but most PGAs and US Opens at this point, that's what it's so much about.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know, I am just, when you put the ball in your hand, I feel like now the integrity of every PGA that's ever been played is a little suspect. I don't know. To each his own, I'm sure. But and I know too, somebody had it. I think it was Shane Lowry on Friday. His ball rolled into a other pitch mark.
I never knew that rule. Did you? Yeah. Were you aware of that? Because you had, obviously, if a ball is embedded in the fairway, you get relief.
Yeah,
absolutely. But if your ball is embedded in a divot,
somebody else's,
that's insane.
Well, and he didn't get relief because he was in somebody else's pitch mark, because his pitch mark was right next to where this new pitch mark was, and then he got in an argument with an ESPN reporter who kind of overstepped his bounds. But yeah, no, if you land in your own, if you embed in your own fairway, not in somebody else's fairway, you get free relief, nearest point with taking a drop.
Okay, so he was not in the same fairway. That was the part that I did not understand.
No, he was not in his pitch mark. He was in somebody else's who had played that hole's pitch mark, and he had the unfortunate luck of rolling into that pitch mark. So he was not entitled to that relief. Had it been his own pitch mark, it would have been relief. He would have been fine.
I would have flipped out.
Yeah. Well, he went on to chunk it 10 yards ahead of him and then cussed out that reporter. So
good for him.
Yeah, I don't think he's too happy about it either.
ESPN, sometimes their reporters can drive me crazy. I do want to mention, before we're going to talk Rory's driver in just a second.
Yeah.
I would be looking at John Rahm's odds to win a major these next 2. Do not forget what Brooks Koepka did. just 2 years ago, first year with the live guys in the majors. Augusta, he was there. He actually had the lead, similar to Rahm on Saturday, had a share of the lead, obviously, on Sunday. So did Rahm. I felt Rahm played a lot better, obviously, on Sunday than, Koepka did. He was kind of undone by some just bad bounces and stuff on the back nine. I think it just eventually, wore on him. That happens. But boy, that looked like the guy that
it looked like the
our
Rahm
buddy Allen,
win
Willie's
majors.
golf courses, man. God almighty.
Yeah, it was cool to see too. It was cool to see him in the mix and playing well. And like that's when we see those guys that haven't been in the mix for a while because they're not playing on the PGA Tour, you get these glimpses with Bryson and Jon Rahm and like you just said, Brooks a few years ago of what golf really should be.
Yeah,
this should be how it is week in and week out. And until they figure out something, I guess we're only going to get it 4 times a year and every once in a while in a Ryder Cup.
it is a shame. But just again, remarkable stuff from Rahm. I loved what he said on Saturday, that he could not tell you how hard he has been working and how long he has been waiting to be in the situation that he was going to be the next day. And I think that's the difference in great players like Jon Rahm, who have already won 2 majors, and most other players, is like he's missing those moments to where I think some guys, they would, they're okay winning tournaments and stuff, but when the pressure really mounts, it's one of the few times golf can be extremely stressful for guys that make an unbelievable living doing what so many of us spend every waking free moment that we have trying to do. It was just cool to see. All right. So the next thing we need to talk about, and this is why I'm glad, we have somebody like you with all your knowledge on the PGA side of it. Rory's driver was deemed illegal.
This is non-conforming.
Non-conforming. I mean, potato.
Fancy USJ word for illegal.
It's illegal. But I hated that it was leaked. He, I think, did not do any press because of that. I understand it. I so respect Scottie Scheffler now he was asked about it, but he still went out of his way to say, yes, my driver was one of the ones tested. And yes, it was also deemed, ineligible, illegal, whatever you want to call it. And this again, where golf needs to do a better job explaining stuff. I felt they did a terrible job explaining, because they brought it up several times, but they never really during the telecast said, this is nothing. This is a dumb testing policy where they do it randomly to a small group of the field. And from everything I understand, there's no malicious intent or content, by any of these guys. It's just a deal where these drivers over time, they hit it in the same spot at amazing speeds. It almost becomes like putting chapstick or something on your driver, right? Where it just makes it hotter in that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's 100% what it is. And, I totally agree with you. I mean, if they would have just explained it in layman's terms, why his driver was deemed, non-conforming, I think everybody would have been like, yeah, we understand. And I know they put out there that the golfers didn't do anything malicious to try to gain a competitive advantage. But when your headlines are saying Rory's driver is illegal, and that, people are going to speculate like we always do. So, but yeah, and it's wild how good these guys are to hit a driver so many times in the same spot that it becomes more trampoline-y, because they're basically wearing out that face, making it more thin. And that's essentially what happens.
Right.
The thinner that face is, the more that trampoline effect is going to happen. So in turn, they can hit the ball a little bit further. But it sucks because then they have to put another driver in play. I know it's the same driver, same specs, all that stuff, but just like any car, every car that's manufactured, they're not all going to be exactly the same, despite being the same make, model, all that stuff. So to have to put in
pros are the opposite of us, where we never hit any club better than the first time we ever hit it. Usually when we're thinking about buying one,
that's the buying tactic.
They get it just worn in just right.
Yep, it's like breaking in a baseball glove.
Exactly. But I am glad that just kudos to Scottie. He's just a class ass.
He is.
Class ass. He's a class ass.
That's an oxymoron.
He's a class ass. And also, it needs to be said, 1 year ago he was arrested, and then to win the way he did, as a dad, how much did you enjoy Scheffler with his son, looking around as he's about to go score, finish, officially become PGA champion. He's like, "Where the hell's Mama?" Oh, well, I guess I'm
Mama's
gonna
been on
take
duty
you
for
with it.
7 hours while you were out there playing golf. She's like, "Here you go. Your
probably
turn.
the
You're off
last
of
6
work."
days, right? I
Oh,
would
yeah,
assume that it's pretty much been all Mama. So she's like, "You know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to get a daiquiri. Take care of this, Scottie." And him putting him on the floor is just amazing stuff.
It's real. It's real stuff.
Yep.
They're real guys just like us.
I'm excited though, man. I really am. It's going to be cool. Looking forward. Not as exciting about this week.
I always have such a letdown after a major championship. It's like they should do a week off after a major championship.
I've been saying for a while that I think that they should take weeks off during the season. And I understand that I'm not going against football 100%. Like it really does. It makes a lot of sense. But come on, man. I mean, there's all these B-level events. To me, have those B-level events instead of the week of a major. Have them in the non-major weeks.
Yeah.
You know, golf degenerates like us, we're going to watch it anyway. And you give all these top guys off because, I mean, we look at somebody like Scottie who is in the field. He highlights it, obviously, but really outside of Scheffler, very weak field, which is the same because Colonial Country Club, the oldest PGA Tour annual venue on the tour. Did you know that? They've been playing an annual event there longer than any course.
Yeah, I did, just because they always highlight that in their coverage and all that. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I never really thought about it until we just said it now, that why not have a week off after majors? Like the letdown from the viewership, the letdown from the golfers, it could just be something that could be part of the season. I get it. They got to have their sponsors, their money. It's money like it is with everything else. But yeah, I would go for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and again, it just, to me, you're going to have guys like Scottie who wants to play in Texas. That's why he's there. Same thing with Jordan Spieth. Really, the two biggest names and maybe best players in this field are the two guys that they have ties to that state. They play in almost all those events.
Yeah, they play
outside of that. Everybody's like, "No, thank you, I'm good." But this is an
90
event.
million degrees down there. I think I'll skip this one.
Yeah, it's already getting really hot in Georgia. Starting today, was first day in the 90s, and I'm like, "Oh boy, here we come."
Yep.
But Colonial, again, last year this event was won by Davis Riley. Recent winners at this event have had very good prior finishes. 6 of the last 9 winners had a top 10 finish one of the previous 3 years. It was 5 of those 9 had a top 5 finish. So Davis Riley being one of them. He had finished 4th there 2 years prior. Then obviously won last year. Outside of Justin Rose, everybody, I believe, who has won for the last 15 years had at least one previous top 15 finish. So again, you're looking at a venue that is more predictive than the numbers will tell you, because it's actually technically the 14th most annually predictive, meaning, prior results lead to yada, yada. But I think that, again, this is one of those that it's a big deal, especially when you're talking winners and stuff like that. This is a traditional, like, tree-lined positional course that has stood the test of time, and it drives me crazy that the PGA Tour will not seek out more venues like this one. Again, this thing has been being played since literally the early 1900s. And over the last 12 times that they've had this event, you've only seen scores of 15 under or better twice. So here's a course that you can't really hit driver. I mean, a lot of these guys could hit 3-iron wedge into some of these par 4s, but because you have to put it on the right side of the fairway, because again, although it's tree-lined area, there's no rough here, and yet year after year, this thing plays tough. This is exactly what, in my opinion, they should do more of. Oh, muted, buddy. Oh, no. You look like you were getting ready to say. I heard you for, I think, a split second. Maybe try to there you go.
Okay. This thing is so dang sensitive, but I do it at least once a show. So if I didn't do it, It's because it's the Italian in me talking with my hands. But yeah, a traditional golf course, great design, stands the test of time. I mean, 100+ years later is pretty incredible that you're not giving up, the 25, 30 under par at this point. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, these are the type of golf courses that I love playing as well. It's the type of golf I grew up playing up in the Northeast, although I know this is in Texas, but a very similar style parkland golf course. And yeah, I mean, it's just impressive that a golf course built so long ago can still stand up to the modern player, and it hasn't been tiger proofed, for lack of a better term.
No, even though as we've learned with tiger proofing or at Quail Hollow, Rory proofing, you end up shrinking the amount of guys that can win events.
Yeah.
When you try to make it more difficult for the best players in the world, because you got to remember that these other guys have got to shoot, unbelievable scores anyway to go against those guys. And it makes it even more difficult when you have to hit the ball so far. You have to be so good from 200 plus, approaches. We spoke about last week, hammering home how many approaches were from 200 yards plus at Quail Hollow. Complete flip-flop this week, where 81% of the approaches will come from 100 to 175 yards. This is a wedge mid-iron fest. This is a course where I'm okay with you looking at driver accuracy, but honestly, good drives gained is a better statistic for this golf course, because you can miss fairways and be on the right side of the hole, correct side of the hole, I should say.
Yeah, I know.
Right. The correct side of the hole, and have a clear shot to the green, to where you can be actually in the fairway and on the wrong side of the hole, and then have trees and other issues into the green. So good drives gained is a little better statistic. And I really leaned into this week the strokes gained approach from 175, or irons less than 200, really that 100 to 175 number. Good drives gained. And then this is a bent green golf course. So strokes gained, bent greens. And those are the three things that over and over again the winners of these events have excelled at.
I smile because as I listen to you talk about these particular statistics and how they're important at this golf course, I'm just thinking Scottie Scheffler. How does he not win this tournament again? It's kind of, and I laughed too because I pulled.
Well, he's never won it though, right?
No, but
so he's had nothing worse than a third place finish, but he's never won it.
Yeah. I mean, nothing worse than third, no big deal. I haven't won it yet. He'll probably do it this year. But I laughed because I looked at the Hard Rock, the betting odds, and it goes Scheffler at 225 and then jumps up to Daniel Berger at plus 2,000. So it's literally him versus everybody else.
He opened at 300 on DK Sportsbook, and I swear to you, within 5 hours, it was down to plus 250.
I bet, because everybody's like, it's not going to get any better than that. Might as well jump on 3-1. I mean, if you got a lot of money to spend, it's a safe bet for sure, because he's Scottie Scheffler, and he just wins these tournaments over and over and over again.
It's unbelievable. Anything else you want to say about Colonial before we'll talk some plays for this week?
I mean, I enjoy watching the guys play on these type of golf courses because I feel like it makes them play more shots. They actually have to shape their irons, and I think I enjoy these type of these tournaments because I think they're just more fun from a golfing perspective. Like you were just saying with Quail Hollow, like they don't just have to hit it 340 down as far as they can and then hit it again. They actually have to worry about accuracy a little bit more and where you want to hit those approach shots from. Like they have to think off the tee. How far out do I want to be? Which club am I going to have to hit to get there? I think golf courses like this make the guys think a little bit more rather than just, all right, we just got to hit the piss out of it, hope for a good lie.
Yeah, it really does, though. I believe, especially with Scheffler and Tiger and these guys that are just, I don't know, aliens at this point, what they can do.
Yeah.
As good as Scheffler is with his wedges, the difference in his advantage from 100 to 175 is nothing compared to the advantage when everybody's hitting from 200 yards and further into greens. And we saw that on the Green Mile all week, at the PGA Championship. So let's start with some DFS, and then we'll get into our betting. Death, taxes, playing Scottie Scheffler and cash games on DraftKings.
You can't afford not to. You want to be like, oh, I'm going to go outside the green, and then he screws you because he plays so well. That's like all my bets last week. The only one I didn't have bet to win was Scottie Scheffler because it's hard. I'd rather not bet than bet Scottie Scheffler.
He's 13-7 this week, which is the highest price I can ever remember on DraftKings ever. And it is just a automatic. They're like the only exception for single entries, like cash games, because 50-50s, I don't care how big the field is. I'm playing Scheffler. I will beat you with the other 5 guys. No problem. And it's the same deal in single entries, except for once you get over like 4,000 or 5,000 entries, to where it's like, okay, I've obviously got Scheffler in all my single entries with, 3,000 and less people in them. Now in these bigger ones, let me take a shot that for some reason he ends up not playing well and take my chances there. But other than that, to me, you have to play him. Other guys that have multiple top 10 finishes over their last 5 starts at this venue, Jordan Spieth, he's 9,800. Davis Riley, who obviously won last year, 4th 2 years prior. He's 8,600. Michael Kim, 8,300. Harry Hall, 8K. Emiliano Grillo, 7,400. Again, those are all guys that excel on mid-iron wedge game, are all pretty good putters to great putters. Looking at like Harry Hall and Spieth being on the great side, Kim and Grillo on the good side. And then Riley just loves playing in Texas, excels from that iron range. And most of those guys really like this golf course, obviously. I do want to speak some guys in kind of the rest of the range. Who's the first person this week you're like, yes, I like them, that is not Scottie Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Davis Riley, some of those guys?
Ben Griffin. I know he's 8,700, but give me a guy besides Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy that's having as good a year as Ben Griffin is right now. I just think he's playing great. And he played well at Quail Hollow. And the biggest stage for him on a very, very difficult golf course. And he just looks like a guy that's going to play well in Texas.
I completely agree with that. I love, and they're both in my values for my DFS cheat sheet, Aaron Rai, 9,100, one of the 10 guys above average in good drives gained, strokes gained approach from that 100 to 200 yard number, strokes gained putting, bent, and putting surfaces. He's literally 8th in good drives gained category. No, excuse me, 1st in good drives gained category. He's 8th in the strokes gained approach from 100 to 200 yards. So he's somebody that's kind of due to win. I've got to bring up Brian Harman. This is a golf course
that is built for him.
It is all about getting the ball in the fairway. He can hit driver where a lot of guys can't. He's very good from that 175 and in number, and his putting statistics have really came alive here in the last few months. I could not believe he made the cut, if I'm being honest, last week at Quail Hollow, which that is not a Brian Harman venue. No. He's already won once in Texas, so he's got no problem with that this season. I love him at 8,500. Any other guys kind of in that range you really like this week?
In that 8,000,
or just anywhere, any 7-8K range that you're just like, yeah, give me some of that.
I think I'm gonna keep pushing Gary Woodland until he lets me down. I really like him this week as well. I think we've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. He's gonna get a win this year, and it's gonna be a really emotional, exciting moment for him. You still feeling good about old Jake Knapp?
Not at this venue.
Okay.
Normally,
he's a long ball guy.
I worry like you're taking away one of his biggest weapons, which is strokes gained off the tee. He is a really good putter. So like if he has, say, a good, iron week, but he's actually another one of those guys that it's crazy for as long as he hits it. He's actually a little better from 150 out than he is, closer. He can lay back to those numbers. The guy I'm back on, and it should be no surprise, is Bud Cauley, 7,800. Again, last week, made the cut at a venue that did not, really suit his game. He just doesn't really have the power, or his, approaches 200 plus is not definitely his strong suit, to where now you get him back where this guy can hit it straight off the tee, is an unbelievable iron player from 175 yards in. And as good of a short game as there is. And he's a plotter, which the guys that do well in this are those. I also really like Tom Kim at 7,600. I feel like that's a real value. It's another guy that excels at all the things that you're looking at in this field. He's one of, again, those 10 guys that rank above average and good drives, strokes gained approach from 100 to 200 yards, and strokes gained putting on Benton total. That full list is Aaron Rai, Brian Harmon, Ben Griffin, who you mentioned. One of the surprise ones, Victor Perez, JJ Spawn, Henrik Norlander, Andrew Putnam, Tom Kim, Davis Thompson, and then your instincts suit you well again, my friend, Gary Woodland. So those are the guys that fit above that. But the reason that it's an easy weight, in my opinion, to play Scheffler, even at that 13.7K, is what we've been talking about. Cauley 7,800, Kim 7,600, Woodland 7,300. And then I love the guys under 7K. Again, Sammy Valmaki, a guy I was on last week, he let me down. In hindsight, he again did not have the length for that golf course. Strokes gained off the tee first 2 days. He was one of the last in the field. That's what's cost him. He still moved up in the strokes gained putting category. He's up to 10th in that. Very good iron player. He's 13th on approaches of 100 plus yards this season. I think he bounces back. Joel Damon, 6,600. He is the only guy I could find, other than, of course, Scottie Scheffler, that is top 10 in good drives gained, strokes gained approach, and strokes gained approach from 100 to 200 yards in this field. So I think that's an unbelievable value. Henrik Norlander, 6,800. Again, he's got a great track record there. Christian Buzenhout, I believe, is just above 7K. He's finished no worse than 21st. His last 3 starts there. There's a lot of guys that you can fill in with Scheffler. Now, are you going to be able to play like Scheffler and Spieth or Scheffler and Raw? I would not recommend that because I don't like, dipping that far down, but playing Scheffler with, maybe one other guy in the 8K range and then a bunch of guys in the 7 and 6, sign me up.
Yep. What about your boy Eric Cole from a couple of years ago? I feel like this golf course is kind of built for him too.
He is on a heater. Really surprised
well
me.
PGA.
That's what I'm saying. I did not see that coming because he's another one of these guys. That course does not fit his game. This one does. He's one of the best players in the world from 150 yards in. His putting and chipping statistics have continued to get better after a slow start to the season. I think he's finished like 40th or better now in 7 straight starts. And I think that he is riding kind of that hot hand. And he's a really good value. What's he like, 7,300 this week?
73, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So, no, 100% cosign.
I like that. Yeah, I was kind of trying to put some lineups together, or a lineup together as we were talking, and I was like, Eric Cole was kind of standing out to me with a big blinking light around it. Jonathan Vegas, do you think he can rebound from? I don't want to say collapse. Was he supposed to be there where he was? Probably not. Did he not play well after he had the lead after 36 holes? Not really. But at the same time, I don't think he's ever been in that position before. That's a position that you've got to have experience to be able to kind of maintain your composure in that one.
Sorry, what I'm smiling about is, did you hear when they asked him how he slept and felt Saturday morning when he arrived at the golf course?
I did not, but I can't wait to hear.
He goes, I got to be honest, I didn't sleep very well, and I'm pretty nervous at the moment. So God bless him for being honest, man.
Absolutely.
Because I don't care if you're not one of these top guys, bullshit.
Yeah.
That you're not gonna. There's no way. Like I know
Even
me.
Guys.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way I'm gonna sleep. Well, you think John Rahm slept well coming into Sunday, his first major? He's talking about how much he couldn't wait to get back to it.
Yep.
It's not even saying he's nervous. It's just he could be excited, right? Like, but you're not gonna exactly get 12. Scheffler probably does because I just don't think too much phases him in life in general. True. It seems like even getting arrested, he was as cool as a cucumber. So
yeah, I guess you're pretty good at golf, huh?
Right.
I'm all right.
My God. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm okay. The other guy I just want to mention real quick is Alex Smalley, who I also think is a real discount in DFS. And I do feel like him and Bud Cauley are going to win an event this year. One of the two, if not both. I don't love that Scottie Scheffler's in the field, but outside of that, this is the kind of venue that I think either of those guys have a wonderful chance of winning at because they can drive it straight. They're great iron players. And the biggest thing is they're so good on and around the greens.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take this week for sure.
All right, so betting card.
Yeah, betting card. If you've
Again,
got $10,000, put it on Scottie Scheffler, and then hope he doesn't falter.
I had to admit it. I have 4 bets for outright winners this week on my betting cheat sheet, and it made me feel kind of sick and a liar and everything else. But adapt or die.
Yeah.
And Scottie Scheffler at this point to me has proven that he's tough to beat for the last, going on 18 months, anywhere, deepest field in the world. You get him in a field like this. We just saw this a couple of weeks ago, and he basically beat the entire field on one side. Remember, he literally beat everybody in that field but Eric Room with just his front 9 score. It's ridiculous.
Wild.
And again, his 3 finishes at this venue: 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. He obviously, as you could tell, really cared about winning in Texas a couple of weeks ago. He won the match play in Texas, but had never won a stroke play event.
Yeah.
I also think that, again, did you see how excited and fired up that guy was about winning?
That was
He's
nice
such
to
a competitor. See. I've been saying
nice
it.
To see. Yeah.
He wants to destroy everybody. And what is an easy way to reclaim the PGA Player of the Year is, oh, Rory, by the way, I have now tied your amount of wins and major wins this season. And the difference in me and you is I won 3 straight events, which, for the record, it has been quite some time since we have seen any player on the PGA Tour, especially not named Tiger Woods, win 3 straight events. I think Scheffler knows this. I think he will. I recommended putting a whole unit. Normally, I'm betting like 0.1, 0.2 units for me. If you've been, following my plays for the last 10 weeks, we've had basically a winner in half of them. We're up a little bit. I'm okay with doing it with Scheffler in this field.
Yeah, in this field for sure. Because it's one of those things, if you don't bet Scheffler and you take a Fleetwood at plus 2250 or a Matsuyama, who's not bad at plus 2250, and then Scheffler goes out and shoots 62, 64, and you're like, gosh darn it. Because that's what's going to happen, is he's going to shoot 2 big low numbers in the first 2 rounds and just piss everybody off, and then his odds will be minus 10,000 to win. And it'll be really disappointing. So, yeah, winner picks for me this week. I'm just going to stay completely away from them, and I'm going to live in that top 5, top 10 world. And Hard Rock even gives you top 20.
Well, let me give you 3 other guys I got to win then.
Yeah, please, besides the guy that's probably going to win.
Davis Riley, 55-1. 4th 2 years ago. Obviously won. And remember, it was a small renovation. Not really much difference in the course layout in the venue last year. But supposedly did play a lot firmer because that was part of it, is they really redid the irrigation system where they could keep the course drier, which is sort of what this course was founded on, right? Being a
running
firm.
Through,
yep, exactly. And so obviously he's okay with that. We talked about it. He's just such a good iron player. His putting is really hot the last few weeks. He's been I think he's been top 20 in the last 3 or 4 events that he's played in the field and putting for that week. If he drives the ball well, I do think he can contend with Scheffler, because again, I don't think Scheffler can go super deep here, even being Scottie Scheffler, because twice in 15 years, somebody's got deeper than minus 15. So that'll help him. And then the other 2, again, Bud Cauley and Alex Smalley, 70 and 80-1. I've been on these guys all year. They've really, the prop bets have paid off well. The bets to win have not. I think one of them is going to get a win. I really do believe that before this year's out. And if you're giving me 70 and 80-1 odds, and quite frankly, a very weak field, sign me up.
Yeah, no doubt. Drop a couple bucks on him and hope Scheffler doesn't win it over everybody. But it'll be interesting to see. I think we talked about this earlier, maybe not on the podcast, that if somebody can really test Scottie Scheffler and push him to have to, instead of, not that he's always cruising to victories, but more often than not, he's ahead by several at some point, either going into Sunday or on Sunday. Just kind of see how he reacts to that. This isn't obviously a major championship, but maybe if somebody, a Cauley, a Rye, a Smalley, or an Eric Cole, Brian Harman, can push him and put a score out there and play with him on the weekend, I'd just like to see it. I'd like to see what he does in that scenario. I think that would be entertaining and fun.
So you said prop bets you like. Is the top 5 or top 10 where you're at? Because I think there's a lot of value in both of those.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, top 5 is kind of where you got. I feel like you got much more of a chance because even if Scheffler does go on to win, or he'll probably top 5, second, third, second, third. I think is what you said in the tournament previously. But yeah, if you look at some of the top 5, this is on Hard Rock anyway. And I feel like Hard Rock doesn't give you the best odds in the world because they got a monopoly on the state of Florida. But Aaron Rai at plus 650, I like that. Siwoo Kim at 8-1. Davis Riley, your boy, 9-1. I think.
Oh, you're getting better odds than the DK book. He's plus 850 on there.
Wow, look at that! Look at that. May have to use my bonus bet on that one. JJ Spawn 9-1. Ben Griffin 10-1. Brian Harmon 10-1. I think
another one. Harmon is plus 850 on the DK.
Look, I was talking trash about Hard Rock, and they got some better value than DK, which we can't do down here. But yeah, I mean, I think taking some shots in that 8-1 to 15-1 section for top 5s. I mean, even Akshay Biate, I probably didn't pronounce that right. He's 13-1 to top 5, and he's been playing good.
You're saying it like it's Batia, right? But I kept saying Biate.
But yeah, it is Batia. That's the correct pronunciation. Yeah. But it is Akshay. That's the one I usually struggle with. I want to say Akshay. Or Akshay. It's Akshay.
I just like that. I think I've got several people calling him Biate.
Yeah,
which is great,
and it works. It works. Biate, but it's Batia, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. 13-1 for
Batia.
him. Batia, yeah. Tia, it's IA. And then Bud Cauley's also 13-1.
11-1 on DK Sportsbook.
Look at that. Look at that. May have to parlay a couple.
How about Lucas Glover 10-1? That's one to me that
I got
really
him 13-1 in Hard Rock.
I love Glover this week.
He played good the PGA.
He's got a really good record here. You want to talk about a guy that is built for that? He's the guy that if he can putt well from 15 feet in, because that's the big putting numbers outside of just looking at strokes gained total, bent greens. I think he absolutely could top 5, and getting him an 11 or 13-1. That seems like
I just use my bet on it.
Really good value. Any other top 5s, or you want to go right to the top 10s?
Let's go to top 10 because I could kind of go on and on about top 5s. A lot of good options, a lot of good value in top 5 anyway.
So I had Harmon and Cauley, who we've talked about, 5-1 plus 550. Again, I feel like those are great values. Smalley also plus 550.
650 on Hard Rock.
My boy Christian Buzenhout plus 650. Again, he has finished at least 21st each of his last 3 starts. And then I, again, love Eric Cole at 6-1 and Emiliano Grillo at plus 650. Grillo is another guy that can find the fairway. Like, he drives the ball pretty straight. Excellent iron player from 175 yards and within. It's been very good on the greens this year. And again, this is a really weak field for guys like Grillo, who's won this event and has, I believe, 4 top 20s and 2 top 10s just in his last 8 starts. Again, Buzenhout has a great track record here. This is a tailor-made course for Brian Harmon. Yep. And you're getting these guys at like 4-5-1, and the field's crap. Like, I mean,
great value.
Yeah, right?
Great value this week on the props. Not so much the winner, unless you just want to dump a bunch of units on Scottie, and that'll be the time he doesn't win, because that's how my betting always works. I always jinx everybody when it comes to my betting.
I do like a couple of top 20s too. You get Grillo plus 280. Again, 4 out of the last 8. You're getting almost 3-1 odds. That to me screams value. I spoke about Joel Damon earlier. He's plus 360. He's the only guy outside of Scheffler that top 10 in the field, strokes gained approach, top 10 in the field, good drives gain, top 10 in the field and strokes gained approach under 200 yards. He's one of those guys, if he can just putt well, I think that he's got an excellent chance. This is a Joel Damon golf course because it's just a ball striker's paradise. And then again, Sami Valmakia from Finland. I really like this kid. He's only 26 years old, got a ton of game, really good on and around the greens, really good iron player. if he can just get the ball on the right side of the golf course, he's also plus 360. I know he had a disappointing PGA, but before that, been playing really well with top 35 finishes in his previous 5 starts. So you're getting almost 4-1 odds on a guy to top 20. Sign me up.
Yeah, plus 450 for Valimaki on Old Hard Rock. And then I see Neil Shipley is playing in this one. My low amateur from last year's Masters that won me some cash. He's plus
recently 450. Won a it was the non-major at the Masters, right?
Where's the one? Because the one they just played was the Myrtle Beach Open at the Dunes Club, my favorite golf course in Myrtle Beach by far. But yeah, was it a Corn Ferry event or was that the off during the Masters? Which one's the Masters? The Puerto Rico?
Or maybe it is. Maybe it was a Corn Ferry event. I know he won it in like a 7-hole playoff or something. So
gotcha.
But no, I think that he's definitely got the game for that. Look at that. We're actually being on time. So let's real quickly, before we get out of here, finish it up with the worst golfing habits. And I've got one.
Okay, shoot.
Dude, solos and twosomes.
Yep.
It's weekend.
Yeah.
It's the morning.
Yep.
Don't be standing in the middle of the freaking fairway with your hand on your hip or riding up, while we're on the tee box. It's not my fault you don't have friends. Okay.
Yeah.
The golf course is packed. So what? You want me to let you go by so we can just flip-flop positions? Because that's literally what's going to happen. And I am somebody that's a big proponent. If it's not busy, always let people go through if they're quick. Yeah. You don't care if it's a twosome, threesome, foursome, whatever it is. The only exception, Saturday and Sunday mornings, when it's just like wall-to-wall people, and there's still people out there that are either in singles, they're singles or twosomes, and they act like, man, I can't believe these people aren't letting us through.
I'll piggyback on top of that, and don't call the golf shop because it's too slow because you're playing in a single as a twosome. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't magically make all these foursomes play at a 2.5 hour pace. And we stopped at Bay Point. We stopped allowing singles or twosomes to be booked. I even had it blocked off on Golf Now, so you couldn't book a single or twosome because it's just setting up for disaster. One, it's going to log jam the golf course, so all the foursomes behind it are going to be pissed, and then they're going to be pissed because it feels slow, but you're still going to play in a 4 hour or 4.5 hour pace. It just feels slow because you're playing as a twosome or single. So I'll piggyback on that and say they shouldn't even be allowed to play at facilities on busy days, weekends, holidays, whatever it may be.
I'll co-sign that in a heartbeat. It's like Chastain Park Golf Course.
Yep.
It does 80,000 rounds a year. It's an 18-hole facility. This is one of our 4 State of Atlanta courses. It does literally last year did like 79,400 rounds.
Wow.
And we'll have people on Saturday mornings calling the pro shop going, we played in like 4 hours and 40 minutes. I go, ma'am, sir, we have 370 people on the tee sheet today. You should be thanking us that you played in 4 hours and 40 minutes because at most places they're taking you 5.5, 6 hours. But do they ever thank us? No, they don't. Nope. They're just like, you guys do a terrible job keeping pace of play.
There's 370 people out there playing, but
And I also like to tell them, we do such a terrible job that again, it's the third most popular or played golf course, 18-hole facility this side of the Mississippi. So we're doing a terrible job. Thanks. And again, it's a public golf course. It's like if you really want it, just go somewhere private.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
who are you looking at your boy Liam?
No, I guess they had ordered some dessert from Sonic. So Ryan had ordered me something. Yeah, looks nothing like sitting here hanging out with you on a podcast and getting myself a little cookie dough Oreo blast.
That's why the term daddy's girl is out there, because look at that. Do you think there would have been any chance that Liam would have gone out of his way to get you a shake?
Gone out of his way? Probably not. But it's mutual. I always take care of her. She takes care of me.
Yeah, exactly. That daddy-daughter connection, man.
That's
my dad are best friends, but God almighty, man, he'd drop everything for Lauren to where with me a lot of times they'd be like, well, I don't know. I got something going on. So anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
I mean, if you want, check out our radio show, ESPN Northwest 40.
If you want, you should check it out. It's great.
Well, and pay attention. If you're friends with me on Facebook, just add me as a friend. All my stuff's public anyway. Best of Bay voting competition coming up starting June 2nd.
Ooh.
We won Best Radio Personality last year for the Inside Drive, and we dethroned Dr. Shane from the Morning Country iHeart show for the first time in like 12 years. So do me a favor. If you see that link, go in, vote for us. We made the top 5 nominations, so we're trying to win that thing again. We can't win it without people voting, so appreciate everybody that nominated us, and let's get us over the hump to win another Best of Bay competition.
I love that. Remind me. I will definitely, vote for you.
I'll be blowing it up on Facebook. So
I love it. But other than that, again, be sure to check out all the stuff on Fantasy Six Pack. Now, I will warn you, they have put now outside of the article preview, the DFS, betting cheat sheets, my model, all that is now behind a paywall. Guys, it's $10 a month. I can give you a FP6 golf code that takes 15% off of that.
Ooh.
So
$8.50. You will win that back with the bets. I guarantee it.
And that's just golf.
Yeah.
So there's football, there's baseball, there's everything you need to know. So be sure to check that out. The links will be in my article, but that's if you're somebody that's been reading my stuff and you've been checking out the cheat sheets and you go to click on it, it's saying sign in. That is why we would appreciate the support. Also, let us know when you do sign up. If you are on Discord, that gives you full access to all the basically the chat channels, meaning that you can hit me up and go, "Hey Keith, I read your betting card or betting cheat sheet this week. Any other plays you like, or why were you so into this other than what you put on there?" And I'll be happy to respond because I like to hear myself talk. So,
you did good today, though. Under an hour. I'm impressed.
I'm so proud of myself. That's all right. Tomorrow, as Ryan was out last week,
I'll be out tomorrow as well.
Are you?
Yeah.
So it was tomorrow. See, I know I wasn't paying attention because I was about to get a massage.
Yeah, there you go. Easy, Justin Tucker. Easy. Yes, but yeah, Max will be in the box again tomorrow for me.
But it was so great. So they weren't sure if I was going to do one segment or two like I normally do, and they said, "Anybody stick around?" And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know me." Yeah, I'm going to stick around. But my favorite part was I guess in the time of the commercial break, they're asking David, "What do we need to ask?" or this or that, and he goes, "I'm pretty sure Keith can kill the next 20 minutes by himself. Just say, Keith, go."
Yep.
So. For me to be done in 52 minutes is pretty impressive, but
it is.
I know that you may miss some shows coming up.
Yeah.
But
Jacksonville for a while.
Really, miss you for those. Don't feel like you have to rush back. Is that starting next week?
It starts. My first treatment starts June 9th.
Okay, because you're going to enjoy it. Next week we have Tour Joe on the show with us.
Nice. What's the tournament next week? I should know that.
Memorial.
That's right.
Place.
A signature event.
It's such a Muirfield is the best.
It is.
I mean, to me, if we're gonna have majors at Quail Hollow, why can't we have a major at Muirfield?
100% agree. That'd be wicked to see that golf course fully tricked up.
Let the US Open or even the PGA Championship. They'll probably extend all the tees and stuff.
Right?
So
Exactly.
I'm all for it. I think we saw again that when you have these events, look at the names at the top. You could argue, 3 of the best 5 players in the world right now.
Yeah.
Shambo, Rahm, Scheffler. Well, actually, I guess Rahm finished a little further, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
But for Keith and Ryan, I hope you enjoy your milkshake.
I will.
And we'll be back next week.
Yes,
Off the tee. We'll see you guys.
Take care.